This is a real estate transfer disclosure statement, commonly referred to as a TDS. And this form is required of sellers of residential property between 1 and 4 units to deliver to the buyer per the state of California. In rare cases, some sellers are exempt, and I have another video explaining when sellers are exempt. However, I think generally it's a good idea for all sellers of residential property to deliver this form to buyers. So we'll jump right into it. You'll start here by putting in the city, the county, and the address of the property, the data that you're preparing this form. Now, if you have a report or some supplemental documentation that relates to any information disclosed in this form, you can specify which reports or disclosures you're including and check this box. However, if you don't, just leave it blank. Many agents just leave this blank. You'll check a box whether or not the seller is or is not occupying the property. Now, this form has kind of a unique appearance, and that's because there's a template created by the state of California, and that's what this form is based off of, this legal requirement that's part of civil code. So it asks these random questions and has check boxes of different features the property may have. So a seller should just do their best to go through and check boxes of items that are included with the home. They'll go through here and check these boxes, and they'll write in, to the best of their knowledge, the characteristics or features of the property. If any of the above mentioned features are not in operating condition, and then the seller will check yes and then describe. If there's not enough space here, the seller can add an addendum or even just a Word document. Same down here, it asks more about the property. And if there are any issues, then the seller can write it out here or add on supplemental sheets if there's not enough space. Moving on, it asks all these questions, yes or no. And it asks about, let's say we have environmental hazard, and then we have common walls, encroachments, room additions, or if any modifications or repairs were made. And so basically the seller is going to go through here and check yes or no to the best of their knowledge. The seller really needs to disclose anything that they know. Now, it's possible that one of these items is true, has happened, but the seller never knew. Maybe the seller was a landlord. Maybe the seller hasn't lived in the home for years. Who knows? But the seller's obligated to disclose what they know. And they can't get in trouble for what they don't know. The seller can only disclose what they have knowledge of. So a seller shouldn't worry. The seller should just think in their head, do I know this happening? Yes or no? And it's really that simple. Now, sometimes sellers get frustrated and think, well, it could have happened and I don't know. I don't want to say it never happened. It's not whether or not it happened. It's whether or not the seller knows of it happening. The seller is the one that's disclosing. They're disclosing their knowledge. They can't give an absolute statement about the condition of their home. It's difficult, especially on second homes and rental properties or properties that have been unoccupied for a long time. The condition's unknown. So the seller just needs to put what they do know to the best of their knowledge. They'll initial on each page, more yes or no questions. If there's any yeses, the seller needs to give a thorough explanation and can attach additional documents. Giving the most thorough explanation to any yes is incumbent and very helpful in reducing the seller's liability. It's strongly encouraged that the seller disclose as much as possible that they know about a property, and certainly any material fact, and I'm defining material fact as any fact about a property that is significant enough to possibly change the buyer's decision or the buyer's perspective on moving forward and proceeding with the sale. That's material. And a seller wants to disclose as much as possible about any defects or material facts so to mitigate their liability and, of course, the brokers involved. It's helpful for everyone and to protect everyone. So the more disclosure, the more thorough of an explanation, the better. Just a rule of thumb to disclose as much as possible. Seller is going to sign, affirming and certifying what they've stated above, and then this form continues on. Now, agents are required to do an inspection, a visual inspection of the property. The agent, and there's a space for both agents, the agent representing the buyer and the agent representing the seller. And the agent can write any items they have mentioned here, or they can check a box that there's no items noted for disclosure. Now, I see agents writing stuff like scratches on wood floor or mark on wall in garage or a little stain. These are not material facts. It's not reasonable to think that a buyer is going to cancel a sale because there's a 2-inch scratch on the wall in the garage. This is where the agent does a visual inspection and mentions any defects or material facts that they see that could cause an issue. That could be a stain on the ceiling, alluding to a leak. That could be something significant. I guess I'll just define this as anything that could potentially be significant should be disclosed. And agents, of course, aren't experts and aren't expected to do a property inspection like a certified inspector would or a contractor, but they are expected to just look around and see what is standing out as a potential defect in the course of a standard visual walkthrough or inspection of the property. That should be noted here. Both agents are going to sign. Both parties are going to sign. This continues on. All the parties are going to sign this final page 6 of 6 of the TDS, and then it's complete. It's pretty straightforward. Just follow the directions and state any information that you know to the best of your knowledge. And that is how you complete a transfer disclosure statement. Thank you.